If someone offers you 60 seconds of tomorrow, would you watch it? Don't answer too quickly, because I did. At first, it felt like the greatest thing that had ever happened to me. By the time I realized that I had actually found, it was already too late. My name isn't important. What matters is that everything I'm about to tell you really happened to me. And if you ever buy a cheap security camera online, I hope it isn't the same model I bought. I'm not the type of person who believes in ghosts. I don't believe in haunted houses, or demons, or cursed objects. I work in IT. My job is fixing problems. Every strange thing usually has a simple explanation. That's why I ignored the first warning, then the second, then the third. By the time I stopped ignoring them, I had already watched tomorrow. It started because of my neighbor. One evening, he stopped me outside the building. He asked, "Did you finally catch whoever keeps walking into your apartment?" I laughed. I told him nobody had even broken into my apartment. He frowned. Then he said something that still bothers me today. "Really? Because I've seen someone standing in your living room window almost every night this week." I smiled. Told him he probably saw my reflection. He looked at me for a second and quietly answered, "No, you were standing next to him." I didn't sleep very well that night, not because I believed him, because I wanted to prove he was wrong. The next morning I ordered the cheapest indoor security camera I could find. Nothing fancy, night vision, motion detection, cloud storage. It cost less than my dinner. 2 days later it arrived. I installed it in the living room, pointed directly at the front door. I tested it. Everything worked perfectly, then I forgot about it until 3 nights later. At exactly 2:17 a.m. my phone vibrated. Motion detected. Half asleep, I opened the notification. The room was empty. No movement, no person, no shadow. Just the silent minute. I almost closed the app. Then I noticed something strange. Not the video, the date. Tomorrow. I actually laughed. Cheap electronics, wrong internal clock. I corrected the date, went back to sleep. The following evening, I came home from work, dropped my keys on the table, took off my jacket, walked into the kitchen, reached for a glass, and froze. Every moment I had just made was identical for the recording. Not similar, identical. The same hand, the same steps, even the moment I scratched my neck without realizing it. I replayed yesterday's recording, then looked around my apartment for the first time. It didn't feel like my apartment anymore. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe I'd watched the recording so many times that I subconsciously copied it. That made sense, at least. It made enough sense for me to keep pretending everything was normal until the next notification arrived. Again, 2:17 a.m., 1 minute tomorrow's date. I didn't know it then, but this was the last night my life still belonged to me. I barely slept that night, not because I was scared, because my brain refuses to accept what had happened. There had to be an explanation. Maybe I had accidentally recreated the movements from the recording. Maybe my memory had played a trick on me. Yeah, people do strange things without realizing it all the time. I kept repeating that to myself. It was the only explanation that made sense. The next morning, before leaving for work, I decided to test the camera. Not with something random, something impossible to repeat by accident. I took a silver coin from my desk, placed it exactly in the center of my kitchen table. Then I grabbed a black marker and then I drew a tiny X beside it. If tomorrow's recording showed the coin somewhere else, I'd know that the video wasn't simply copying my habits. I locked the apartment, went to work, spent the entire day trying not to think about it. Yeah, but I did. Every hour, every minute, every 3 seconds. Around lunchtime, I almost convinced myself to throw the camera away. Then I remembered something. My neighbor. The man who said he'd already seen a camera in my window before I'd even bought one. For the first time, that bothered me more than the recordings. That night, 2:17 a.m., another notification. Motion detected. I opened the app immediately. The apartment was dark, silent. The coin was gone. The X was still there, but the coin had disappeared. I thrown it. The recording continued. 20 seconds, 30, nothing. Then someone knocked at my front door. 3 slow knocks. The camera couldn't see the hallway, only the inside of my apartment. Whoever was outside never appeared. The knocking stopped. The recording ended. Exactly 1 minute. I checked the timestamp. Tomorrow. Again. The next evening, I got home earlier than usual. I walked straight into the kitchen. The coin was exactly what I've left it, still on the eggs. I loved it. I actually loved it. See? I said out loud, the camera is broken. Then, without thinking, I reached for a glass of water. As I turned around, my elbow hit the table. The coin rolled off, straight onto the refrigerator. I stared at the floor for a few seconds. I couldn't move. The recording hasn't shown the coin disappearing by itself. It had shown what would be true at the end of that minute. Not how it appeared, just what it would happen. At exactly 2:17 that night, someone knocked on my door. 3 slow knocks, exactly like the recordings. Every muscle in my body froze. I didn't move. Another knock, then another. Silence. I waited. 5 minutes, 10. Finally, I walked to the door, looked through the peephole. Nobody. I opened it anyway. The hallway was empty. No footsteps, no elevator, nothing except a small cardboard box. No shipping label, no address, no name, just a plain brown box. Inside, there was only one thing, a memory card. The same brand as the one inside my security camera. I wish I had threw it away. Instead, I inserted it to my laptop. There was only one file. No date, no file name, just a single video. Length 1 minute. I clicked play. The first frame appeared. It was my apartment. It wasn't even my building. It was my bedroom. Recorded from somewhere inside the room. Somewhere my camera couldn't possibly see. I should have deleted the file. Instead, I watched it twice, then a third time. The room was dark. My bedroom recorded from the corner near the ceiling. The problem was, there was no corner there. No shelf, no smoke detector, nothing that could possibly hold a camera. I knew that room. I had painted every wall myself. The video started at exactly 2:17 a.m. The bed was empty. The room was silent. The 30 seconds passed. Nothing happened. I almost closed the app, the laptop. Then the bedroom door opened. I walked in, still wearing yesterday's clothes, still carrying my backpack. I looked exhausted. I sat on the edge of the bed and stayed perfectly still for almost 20 seconds. I wasn't looking around. I wasn't using my phone. I wasn't moving at all. I was listening, like I could hear something, nothing outside the camera's view. Then I slowly turned my head, not toward the door, not toward the window, toward the empty corner where the camera seemed to be, and I whispered something. The video had no sound. I stared at it on my face. My lips moved slowly, carefully, 3 words, over and over again. I couldn't understand them. The recording ended. Exactly 1 minute. I replayed it 5 times, then 10. I even tried reading my own lips. Mm-mm, nothing. That should have been enough. A normal person wouldn't call the police, threw the camera away, moved somewhere else. Instead, I waited for the next night, 2:17 a.m. Another notification. I didn't even hesitate. I opened it. This time the camera slowed my living room again. The front door was closed, everything looked normal. Then someone knocked. 3 slow knocks, the same rhythm as before. But this time the door opened, not because someone unlocked it. It opened by itself, very slowly, just enough for darkness to fill the gap. Nobody walked in. The door remained half open. 20 seconds, 30, 40, nothing. Then something rolled across the floor, a small silver coin. It stopped exactly where I'd round the little X. The recording ended. I ran to my front door, locked. Chain still attached. I checked every room, nothing. I barely slept. The next evening before going to work, I taped the front door shut. Not just the lock, the entire frame. I covered it with strips of masking tape. If anyone opened the door, the tape would tear. There would be proof. That night, 2:17, the notification came again. The tape was untouched, the door was still closed, but the coin was already lying on the kitchen floor, exactly where the recording had shown it. I stood here for a long time, trying to understand. Then I realized something that made my stomach drop. I had spent days asking, how does someone get inside? I had never asked, what if nobody even came in? The next notification arrived before I could finish that thought. I looked at the timestamp. Tomorrow, again. I didn't even open it. Not immediately. For the first time, I was afraid that watching the next minute might be reason it happens. I didn't open the next recording. Not that night, not next morning, not even after work. The notification stayed on my phone for almost 18 hours. One unopened video, 1 minute long, dated tomorrow. It felt like a bomb. As long as I didn't press play, whatever was inside it couldn't affect me. At least that's what I wanted to believe. Around midnight, my phone battery died. I plugged it in. The screen lit up. The notification was gone. I frowned. I opened the app. No new recordings, nothing. For a second, I felt relieved. Then my laptop turned on by itself. The screen was already awake. The security camera software had opened automatically. One file. No date, no name, just play. I clicked in. The video began. My bedroom again. The impossible camera again. This time I wasn't asleep. I was sitting on the edge of my bed, exactly like I had been the night before. My phone was in my hand. I was watching something, the same recording I was watching now. I felt cold. The video showed me watching the video. Then, the version of me inside the recording slowly looked up, not at the bedroom door, not at the window, straight into the hidden camera, then straight at me. I know that makes no sense, but that's exactly how it felt. Like he wasn't looking at the camera, he was looking through it, looking at the person watching, looking at me. He raised one finger slowly, placed it over his lips, as if telling me to stay quiet. Then he pointed behind himself, very slowly toward the bedroom door. The video ended. I don't remember standing up. I don't remember walking down the hallway. The next thing I remember, I was standing outside my own bedroom. The door was closed, completely silent. I kept telling myself, it's just a video. It's impossible. There is nobody inside. I reached for the handle. My hand was shaking. Before I touched it, someone knocked. 3 slow knocks from inside the room. I stepped back. Every light in the apartment went out at exactly 2:17. Nah, I left. I didn't pack anything. I didn't lock the door. I drove until sunrise. The camera, the memory card, the laptop. I felt everything behind. 3 days later, I called the landlord. I told him I wasn't coming back. He was quiet for a moment, then he asked, "Did you finally open tomorrow's last recording?" I didn't answer. He signed very calmly, like he'd had this conversation before. Then he said something I still think about every single night. "Don't worry, the next tenant never believes it either." I never went back. I changed my phone number. I moved to another city. I tried to forget. 6 months passed. Nothing happened. I finally convinced myself it had all been stress, a breakdown, until last Tuesday. I came home from work. There was a package waiting outside my apartment. No return address, no shipping label inside. There was a brand new security camera, the exact same model, still sealed. At the bottom of the box, there was a handwritten note, just one sentence: "Don't miss tomorrow."